Hey, true believers. Chris Mack coming at you with a really awesome 4-part mini-series that's an installment of the Age of Apocalypse. And I figure we've already gone over the Chronicles, which kind of shows the build-up to everything. And I thought before we jump into the next series, which really kind of takes off on everything that was the main event, let's go over Blink. This is a 4-part mini-series, and she is still one of the most fan favorites from this era. And this was written by Scott Lobdell. We'll get into the credits here in a minute. The print date on it was March 2001. So you can see this was years later, as where the Age of Apocalypse was during 1995. Now, we open up on Blink and Morph. They are under suppressing fire from, I think these are Infinites. And, Rogue's asking Sidney to stick his head out and see what type of odds they're against. And, of course, he's joking, in character, because these are Lobdell's characters. And I love how we get this gorgeous splash page. So before we even get into any of this, let's talk about who made this book. This is Scott Lobdell writing, Trevor McCarthy doing the pencils, Tyson Mikado, I think is how you say the inker, and then those guys at Liquid doing colors, Richard Starkings and Comicraft doing the lettering, and at this time Pete Franco was the assistant editor, Mark Powers editor, and Joe Quesada blinked. And I like how they kind of bring everybody up to speed who maybe not had originally read The Age of Apocalypse. So it says, welcome to a world not our own, where a man named Charles Xavier never formed a team of young outcasts to protect the planet from the threat of evil mutants, where war between the two species of mankind has laid waste to civilization, where a being who believes the weak should be crushed under the iron heels of strong lords over all. Welcome to the Age of Apocalypse. And so, as I just said, beautiful double page splash. And it says, you win, she's back. And so we see all these Infinites attacking. And I think this is like downtown Manhattan, I think, is what this is supposed to be. And so we kind of get this sick look on Morph's face. And he goes, I'm going to go out on a limb here and say, future Cloudy, try again later. So that's one thing I've always liked about him, is he kind of really helps set off the, the humor in a rather bleak universe. So Rogue is saying that we need Blink because we need to extract all these humans from this culling that's going on. And someone's like, Blink? You mean the purple girl? Oh, she disappeared a few minutes ago. And so Rogue's not really happy with her. So we see this really cool silhouette shot of her, and it says, the most terrifying aspect of these buildings is how common they've become in the past 3 years. There is one in every major city in the United States. Difficult to maintain, perhaps, from an administration point of view. But they are there to send a message to both human and population. Human and mutant population. The message is, give up. So I don't know if they're supposed to be like breeding pens or just like strongholds of apocalypse. But anyway, we get this, start getting backstory on Blink. And whilst we're doing that, another gorgeous splash page. I just love that, how she just kind of smiles while taking these Infinites out. And we come to find out what happened to her, because, they said that she was born light purple skin with those markings on her face. And she's saying she never thought herself different, just like how nobody should. And then as this twisted reality became what it is, it says she could still remember where she was the night the horseman known as Sinister came to her home in Miami. She could still see her father valiantly, but futilely trying to fend off the approaching hordes. She saw him die as he peered through a gap between the floor and the cellar door. She remembers the sound of her mother's frantic whisper, "Stay there, Clarice. We won't let them have you. We won't." She remembers the very instant she was inhabitant of the pens until she was liberated by a man named Victor Creed, and she became an X-Man. So I like that Lobdell here kind of gives us some more backstory on Blink. So they didn't really give a lot of time to flesh out a lot of these characters. And so the rest of this is just kind of her inner monologue about how she feels attacking this pen because of the beast. And then we kind of get into the meat and potatoes of this story. So Spoiler alert for those of you that have never read this series, and just a heads up, this 4-part miniseries is getting harder and harder to find. All my local comic shops didn't have it. I happened to find it for a good deal on eBay. So if you can get all 4 at once, do it, because this series is getting scarcer and scarcer, my friends. So we find out that the Dark Beast is working on aliens. And so he gets some back and forth between these two because they know each other. But this really starts to touch on the idea of aliens visiting our world. He says instead of getting back on his ship and turning around, he made the mistake a lot of aliens make. He asked to be taken to our leader. And so Beast really starts, because he's very much into eugenics in this dark universe, starts to explain what he's doing with this alien's DNA, and how he doesn't think that Clarice has the guts to put this man out of his misery. Now, I'm not going to spoil that part because, it was really cool what happens. Though because of her not following orders, Magneto comes to her and says, each time you bell, essentially, loose paraphrase, you put each of us at danger. It's like, I can no longer abide your presence among my X-Men. And as we remember, Clarice was a little bit of a hothead. She goes, we're not your X-Men, Magneto. We're people. Each of us with our own thoughts and feelings on everything. Don't think you can get rid of me just because I won't march in goose step with the rest of your mindless little soldier. Before she can finish soldier, don't you dare. Because Clarice grew up in the Dark Beast's pens and was liberated. And still in this universe, Magneto grew up in the Nazi death camps. So he's like, I know what you're saying, but I have limits on how far I'll let you push me. And you'd think that the story would end there, but some other things happen. I'm going to leave it on this page. This character here, from what I understand, has recollections of both this universe and the original 616 universe. What's his name? Find out next issue. And this background, well, we get some Fantastic Four action here with the Negative Zone. So yeah, guys, for a first issue, kind of going back and revisiting the Age of Apocalypse in a really entertaining way with the original writer, a very much welcomed addition. And then this artwork here by Adam Kubert. I love the little diamonds here with each fracture of the Age of Apocalypse. They're just really cool design. So yeah, if you've enjoyed this comic series, first and foremost, as I said, go check with all your local comic shops. See if they, by chance, have it. If not, then, you have to go to the secondary market or just check with collectors either on Facebook groups or any type of messaging boards, etc., so forth. And if you've enjoyed this review, we'd really appreciate it if you take a moment to hit like, share, and subscribe. Helps the club channel more than you could possibly know. And if you wouldn't mind hitting that fancy little blink bell next to subscribe, that way as we continue to upload content, you guys will get notified. And you can come to the channel, and we'd love to hear your feedback, and we'd love to talk to you all about the Age of Apocalypse, since I decided to just dive head first into this event, since I love it so much. So with all that said, I hope you all continue to have an absolutely amazing day of reading, and happy hunting, true believers.